What is going on, everybody? Adam here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2015 Toyota 4Runner, and we're going to be taking a look at the Rhino-Rack hybrid roof-mounted fat bike rack. So this one's going to be a little unique compared to some of the other options that you have on your website. This one's just going to give you about 45 pounds per bike of weight capacity. Some of the other ones that you have options for on our website only give you about 35 pounds capacity with factory crossbars, but with aftermarket crossbars they say 45. This one gives you 45 pounds of capacity for whatever crossbar that you have up on your roof. This is also going to come with a bike cable and some locks to lock the bike rack to your roof, to lock the wheel cradle to your bike, and then another just little theft deterrent as well. All the other ones on our website, you got to grab them separately. This one comes with all of it from the box. So this is really going to be pretty much everything you need to be able to get your bike up here locked down and transported safely. Of all the fat tire bike roof mounted bike racks, this is my favorite just because it comes with everything that you need right out of the gate. So it comes with all the locking cores, it comes with the cable and everything, so you really have that peace of mind whenever you're traveling or whatever, and you keep your bike up there. Also, I like the looks of it, so I don't mind just keeping this thing up on my roof. I don't think it's gonna make a whole lot of noise since it's so low profile. But when it comes to mounting, this one's actually pretty quick compared to some of the other ones, and that's just because of this over here. We have these little straps underneath here. I'm such a fan of these straps. One, they're easy to install, and two, it just gets a really, really solid mounting point for the bike rack. On the other side, like we have to use like a little tool to tighten all this down, but it's only 2 bolts, so that's not a big deal. Some of the other ones on our website, you have to do that over here, but then you also have to do it over on the front as well. And that's another 2 bolts on each side. So that's a total of 6. I'm pretty gassed after I just do this, and of course after I get this big thing up here. So I definitely like this, but I'm gonna go over all that mounting process later in the video. This is a pretty versatile bike rack. It's gonna be able to work with fat tire bikes up to 5 inches wide, wheelbases up to 52, even the kids' bikes you can throw up on here. If you do have an electric bike, just make sure it's under 45, but also you still gotta get this thing up there. So if you're doing something with the hitch and you don't really wanna get a hitch mounted bike rack, this is gonna be a great option for you. The only limitation, I think, which is for majority of the ones you have options for, the Thule Pro Ride is going to have a frame mount. So if you do have fenders and you don't want to take them off, you're not going to be able to use these type of wheel hook roof mounted bike racks. You're going to have to go with the Thule Pro Ride, but then also you got to make sure that you don't have a carbon fiber frame because it does have frame contact. All in all, we've looked at a lot of the reviews from this, and you guys also like this, and you actually say quite often that you like it better than the Thule. I agree with you, and I think this is the best option we have. So I talked about how this one comes with locks. So let's start with the wheel lock right here. So with it unlocked, we're gonna be able to push that button in. But when we get it all cinched down, take our keys, and this is now not gonna let us push this button at all. So it's gonna stay there nice and tight. And we start moving down, you notice we have a little cable right here. So on one end, we're gonna have a loop, and it's just gonna go all the way and loop back to itself. I'm going around my frame on both the top and the center tube, and then going through my wheel. And the cool thing about this is, it's locked right now, but this little piece right here, see how it's notched? So you can do it either way. You can have it upside down or right side up, either way, it'll work. You get this down in that slot. I have it kind of tight now. And you can lock that in with the same exact key, which is awesome. And for our third lock right here with the bike off, we're gonna be able to unlock this. So this whole entire cap's gonna come off, and that'll reveal our little bolt underneath that tightens down the straps that go around our crossbar. So that is all locked into place. So the carrier is connected to our roof rack. The bike is locked with the wheel hook, but you also have a second theft deterrent with the cable. And the cable I really like how I was able to kind of wrap it around a bunch of different things and then come down. So a lot of the times they're super sloppy, but this one isn't. It's nice and tight, and it's just gonna be another theft deterrent for you. Majority of the whole entire rack's gonna be made of aluminum, but the cap is gonna be made of just plastic, but it isn't really going to be really brittle. As you can see, this little fat tire adapter that we put on here kind of rubs up against it, and it didn't crack, so that's kind of cool. And this is a powder coated finish. Even though it is made of aluminum, it does give you a nice little powder coat, so it's gonna look good over time. And it's not super glossy. I don't like the glossy stuff. You see that a lot with the Yakima racks. They usually have gloss, but it just shows scratches really easily. And then with a lot of the Thule stuff, they don't really put any powder coat on there. Yeah, this one doesn't need it because it's aluminum, but I like the black look a lot better than some of just the normal Thule aluminum look. So let's go ahead and take this thing off. Always start with the straps because the bike is standing up on its own with the wheel hook. The straps just pretty much keep it from bouncing around. So you can start with these. Just push it down just like this on the front. And the nice thing about these is they're separated, so we can slide one this way and the other one can slide independently as well. And it'll slide throughout the whole entire track right here, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and take the other one off too. Now that all of that's undone, let's do our cable. Start with that. Unlocked. Go all the way through. Whoop. We can put this to the side somewhere. This doesn't store in the rack, so you're gonna have to find a place for it, wherever you want. And then, now that that's done, we can go ahead and undo this one. Now that that's unlocked, we wanna put a hand on it because we don't want it to fall. Go all the way up and go all the way out. And then you can wrestle this thing down. Just like that. And whenever we were loading this thing up too, this wheel step is making all of this possible. So trust me, grab one of these, especially if you have a taller car. This one's really nice. You have plenty of grip, so even if it is a little muddy or whatever, maybe your shoes are a little muddy from the ride, because the tires are, odds are your shoes are gonna be as well. So this is the best way to get it up and onto the roof. Now that everything's done, let's put everything kind of back to where we can transport it without the bike. I'm gonna fold this down, do something with these straps. I'll just probably just zip them all the way down on both sides. Zip, zip, zip. Just like that somehow, perfect. And then we can take this arm, ooh, and go all the way back. I'm probably just gonna go like that. So let's take some measurements just to see how much we're actually adding to the top of our crossbars. So all you have to do is measure from your crossbars, and the highest point, which is definitely gonna be the little wheel holder, it's about 4 inches. And the straps, if we can find a good place for these to sit, kind of like that. The straps will be a little bit higher than that, so about 5 inches with the straps. So you just wanna make sure that'll fit into your garage. With the 4Runner that we have on top of here, depending on your garage, it might work. But just take that measurement from your crossbar and you'll know exactly how much height you're gonna be working with. So our wheel hook right here is gonna accommodate for tire diameters up from 29 inches all the way down to about 20 inches in diameter, which is quite a large spread. And when it comes to the overall length of this whole entire carrier, it's about 64 inches in length. And then when it comes to mounting, we did the clamp around just because that's how everything comes with the kit. But if you prefer to do T-slot, like on our Malones, we have a little T-slot right here. We do have a kit sold separately that you can mount it on the T-slot if that's your preferable mounting type. But if you have the HD bars from Rhino-Rack, we actually do have a C-channel kit as well sold separately. Not a lot of accessories are gonna work with those kind of bars. This bike rack, it does. Fresh out of the box, we are going to be able to use this with tire widths up to 2.7 inches, but we're going to be using it with a fat tire bike today. So you're going to get an extra box in the kit. First things first, all you got to do with the straps, just to make them longer, is just go like this. Done deal. So that is what you do on both the front and the back. And the next one is kind of just as easy, but all we need to do, let me get this out of the way. All we got to do is lift this little hatch up here. If it's locked, unlock it with our keys. But it was unlocked when I pulled it out of the box. We're going to flip this up. And then this is what we're going to have to replace. So fat tire bike's a little bit bigger. So what we want to do is you're going to rotate it back like this. Take this in. And then set that to the side. And this is going to accommodate fat tire bike wheels up to about 5 inches in diameter. So let's get it set back in. You'll hear it pop like that. And now we're good to go. To make sure that you did it right, we're going to have this little pointed arrow facing towards the longer side of the carrier. And you'll know if it's right if it will go down like this and also stay up like that. So make sure you put it in the right orientation. And now that is all converted and we're good. Underneath, we're going to have two different types of mounting. On one side, it's just going to be a clamp that goes around. So we're going to have to completely loosen that up and take it off. But then on the other side, we're going to have some straps. I really like these straps. And those are the only two mounting points that are going to mount to our crossbars. Before we put the rack up on our roof, we want to make sure that our crossbar spread is going to be at least 21 5/8 of an inch. And to measure that, you just measure from the center of one bar to the center of the other. And we want to make sure it's not going to be anything bigger than 39 3/4 of an inch. And as you can see, we are good. For the clamp around side of our mounting, not the straps, what we're going to want to do is take the tool that's included. And I'm just going to take this thing completely off. And this way we can put it up on there, put the other piece that's coming off under the bar and clamp it all down. So I'd rather just do this up here rather than up on the roof. To me, I don't mind if my bike faces backwards or forwards. All I really care about right now is one, that the straps that I'm pulling down on are going to be facing the outside of the vehicle. And the arm is also going to be on the outside of the vehicle. So I'm going to have these facing back when I put it up on the roof. So that's where my bike's going to be. But if you wanted to, we can actually swap this arm around. I'm not going to do that today, but all you got to do is just follow the instructions, take a couple things out, punch this thing out, and then swap it to the other side. So you do have that option with this if you do have a preference on where your bike's going to be facing. So let's go up like this. One thing I like about it, like, yeah, we have a little rubber strip right here, but we do have rubber underneath too, so it's not going to scratch the bars. Because with these crossbars, the rubber's not on top, so it's not really hitting that. So if we didn't have this rubber bumper, it would be metal on metal. But with this little pad, we don't have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and slide it right on the inside of the towers. Since that's done, the tray does slide for the other one. We're going to take this, slide it all the way over, just like that. And if you really wanted to, what we could do is take this cap off on the end and then slide this out and switch it around to make it a little bit easier for you. To make this a little bit easier on myself, I would like this bracket to be on the other side. So what you got to do is you just got to remove the end cap like that and take this out and just rotate it. Perfect. That's just going to be a little bit easier on me. Replace this cap. There we go. And now take this, put this down through. I like to get it threaded a little bit on each side. And when you tighten these down, with the tool. You want to make sure and do it nice and even. Just because if we do it unevenly, there's going to be a lot more bolt sticking out on the bottom, especially if you have a factory roof rack. That bolt might hit your roof. We are not going to have that issue today. So get it relatively snug, move on to the next one, relatively snug, and then you can tighten them all down. Just be as even as possible. Now at the top, if you're familiar with some of the Yakima tie downs, it's kind of the same strap system. We're just going to take our tool, there's going to be one little bolt right here, and as I loosen this up, it's going to give me a little bit more wiggle room with our straps. You won't really be able to see it a whole lot, but it does do it. So what we want to do is get this as loose as we can so it wraps around our bars. And then once it's decently loose, kind of pull it out, feed this strap under, and then it'll have a little slot underneath. And we're going to take it, kind of pull it back, put it into that slot, and slide it back. Now that that's seated in, we'll do the same with the other side. Once we're done putting the straps in place, you can tighten this back up with the tool. And as you see, when I start tightening this, this little bar starts going that way. And then on each side, it has a little metal strap. So those straps, they look rubber because the outside coating's rubber, but the inside's metal. So as you start to tighten it down, this goes that way, which brings in the other side of the strap, which tightens it down. It's kind of cool. I really like it. It protects the bars, and it really does get a really nice and solid fit. Torque it down a little bit. You don't want to over tighten these. Once we're done with all that, we want to fold this down, put it in the slot, lock this down. And the cool thing about it, the locking cores come with it. So this now is completely locked to our roof rack. And then the same exact key is going to work with the bike lock, which will lock that down, which is awesome. So if you do have a Rhino-Rack roof rack, what you can do is you can get locking cores for it, and you can lock your roof rack to your roof with the same key. So just look at the number on the locking core and the key, and then you can just go on our website and grab locking cores for it. So you can just have everything work with one key. It's just really convenient because having a bunch of keys, I'm always just fumbling through seeing which one's which. If you do it all at the same time and have them all be the same, you don't have to do that. Right now is a great time to open up your rear hatch to make sure there's no contact. The whole base of it, we're not having any contact, but the arm is. So if we have a bike up there, this is going to be locked down. So that's not really going to be an issue. But if you do keep it up here, you can just rotate this to this side and we should be pretty good. So just make sure when your hatch is open, everything works. Just because we want to be able to open up our hatch with a bike or without. And with this setup, we're good to go. If you are moving around your crossbar spread to accommodate for what this bike rack asks for, might as well just give you this measurement from the center of our crossbar to the very farthest point in the back. It's about 17.5 inches. So this is going to be extremely interesting. This thing's about 38 pounds-ish, and it's just kind of heavy and bulky. So if you do have factory crossbars, it's obviously going to be on the inside of your side rails, but for this, we could actually put it on the outside of our towers. All you need is about 4 3/4 of an inch from the very farthest edge of your tower to the outside of our crossbar. We have that, but I'm gonna do it the hard way, just to show you if you think it's something you can do. So here we go. Here we go. So what we're supposed to do is we put that little support beam up, and what we got to do is just get this thing up there first. And if you don't have a step, grab a step, because trust me, it'll be a lot easier to get up here. So we want to take the straps. Probably best to take the straps and make them on that side of the carrier before we do this, but again, I'm doing it the hard way so you guys can see it. That wasn't horrible. I'm not the strongest man in the world, but I got it done. We'll take this, go all the way up, and we want to go as far as we can towards the center. Just like that. Now we're good. So it's up there. What we got to do now is take our straps, feed these through, put them down. One thing I do like about these is each side slides. So if we really wanted to, we really want to get it down at the bottom. So I'm going to put this pass through and slide it. And now that we have that hook on there, the bike's going to stay upright. These straps just kind of help with that vertical movement that you see. These don't have any type of padding or anything on them, but they are made of a softer type rubber material or plastic material. So they're not going to scratch anything up. It's definitely softer than what my wheels are made out of. And if I want to have this piece not hit my roof, now that with the fat tire kit, we can just use that type strap right there. So I'm going to do the same exact thing for the other side. And that's basically it for a look at the Rhino-Rack hybrid roof-mounted fat bike rack on our 2015 Toyota 4Runner.